We got two big things done this week. First, we finally, after hours of Shelley being online trying to navigate the multitude of COVID vaccine sites, got scheduled for our first shot. But only I was eligible for the shot at this time, and she would have to wait. The other problem was that it was still nearly a month out. Then we would have to stay in the area another 3 weeks for the second shot. Not quite what we were hoping for. So as luck would have it, we were spending the day out taking care of schedules and errands when we drove by one of the vaccine facilities. Just on a hunch, I turned into the lot and was surprised at how little traffic there was. There were a multitude of volunteers happily waving us up to the first checkpoint. The nice folks there asked if we had our appointment notice, and truthfully, we told them that we did not. But we were hoping that they might have a few extra, or that maybe some folks scheduled were no-shows. They smiled and wrote a big R on each side of our windshield and told us to go out the lot and enter at a different place. We did so, presented our IDs, and were given forms which were easy and quick to complete. Then drove the well-guided and coned route to a tent where RNs were waiting to give us our injections. Along the way, we were asked similar questions as to verify our identities, allergies, and short medical histories.
Okay.
Indeed, the ladder?
Two very nice and efficient RNs verified us again, then gave us our first injection and told us to continue on to the waiting area, where we stayed in our vehicle for the prescribed amount of time under the watchful eye of another RN and were scheduled for our second and final injection, as well as given our yellow card. That's the CDC vaccination history card. This time it was white. No problems at all. We may have been there for maybe a half hour. When we got home, Shelley called and canceled the original appointment we had made. We both experienced a slight amount of discomfort at the injection site, which came on slowly and lasted for a day, no more. Very efficient and smooth. Too bad the websites weren't as easy to navigate. Number 2 is to service the hot water heater. Ours is a 12-gallon Summit and has an anode which I'm sure would need replacing. It had been in from the factory. We watched a couple of YouTube videos on the procedure, each with a different twist, and had already ordered and acquired all the parts and tools we'd need to complete the job. The next morning early, I took everything out to the access door and prepared to get wet. Be sure to turn the heater off and let it cool, or discard the hot water down the sink till it runs cool. Prior to working and prevent scalding. Oh yeah, we'll leave a list of the stuff we used in the description below the video, as well as a link to our Amazon store for the flesh wand and anode rod. Our 12-gallon tank would require 6 gallons of our local grocery's cheapest white vinegar and a 1 1/16 inch socket, which can be sourced at your local hardware or home improvement store. The anode kit came with 2 rods and a small amount of Teflon tape. Open the pop-off valve first to make it possible to drain the tank. The longest physical part of the process was using the flush wand to try and get as much sediment and scale out ahead of putting the vinegar in. Hint, it's the wettest part too. Then we used a homemade fill tube out of 3/4 inch PVC. Get a scrap 3-foot length, then cut it to size. 1 3/4 inch MPT threaded end and 1 3/4 inch elbow and a funnel, all just pressed to fit. Screw the contraption hand tight into the now empty anode fitting. Pour in the 6 gallons of vinegar. If you have a Nautilus system like on the Grand Designs, you don't need the PVC. I just wanted to try it. Then top off the tank with water, making sure that you have the pressure relief valve at the top open, and let the concoction sit for 6 hours. You can close it once you've filled it. That'll help keep some of the water and vinegar from leaking out. When your time is up, drain the tank again and use the wand again to make sure every bit of scale and debris you can get out is out. Put some Teflon tape on the new anode's threads and reinstall it, tightening only snugly, just don't over tighten it. Turn your water or bypass valve to refill the tank, and when water comes out the pop-off valve at the top, close it and bleed the interior hot water lines, then turn the heater back on. That's it. You're all done. You should have seen the amount of scale and debris that came out of that hot water heater after only a year's use.